Technology moves so quickly that most of us barely notice the invisible systems holding everything together. We tap, we swipe, we scroll, and the world responds as if it were all effortless. But hidden beneath that smooth surface is a kind of conversation happening constantly. Apps speaking to other apps' machines, exchanging information, and servers quietly coordinating with one another. Today, we're going to uncover that invisible world. We're going to explore the simple idea that makes modern software possible. An idea that lets your favorite apps share data, borrow features, and work together almost like a single organism. This is the story of APIs, how apps talk to each other. Have you ever wondered how your phone seems to know things almost instantly? How you tap a button to book a ride, and within seconds, a driver miles away suddenly gets a notification? How your weather app, your banking app, your food delivery app, your social media apps all seem to magically know exactly what you want, right when you want it. It feels obvious now. You press a button, something happens. But the truth is, behind that simple action is an entire invisible world. A world where apps don't just exist on your device. They talk to massive systems somewhere else. They request information, they wait for responses, and they coordinate with servers scattered across the planet. And the secret language that makes all of this possible is something called an API. Today, we're going to unpack what APIs really are, not by throwing technical jargon at you, but by peeling back the layers of modern technology to reveal how apps communicate, how data moves, and why none of our software would work without these digital messengers. So let's start from the beginning. Imagine you walk into a restaurant. You sit down, you look at the menu, and you decide you want a bowl of noodles. But here's something interesting. Even though the noodles are made in the kitchen, and the kitchen is just a few meters away, you never walk into it. You don't boil the water, you don't chop the vegetables, you don't season anything. You just lift your hand and say, "I'll have this, please." The waiter writes it down, takes the order to the kitchen, and after a few minutes, brings back exactly what you asked for. In this tiny scene, everyone has a job. You place the request, the kitchen prepares the food, and the waiter carries messages back and forth between the two of you. That waiter is the API. APIs are the go-between. They are the couriers of the digital world. The translators, the messengers, the connectors. They take your request, deliver it to another system, wait for the result, and come back with the answer. And just like a well-trained waiter, an API makes sure that you, the customer, never need to step foot into the kitchen. Think about what would happen if restaurants didn't have waiters. You would have to go behind the counter, dig through the pantry-operated equipment you've never used before, and somehow hope that you don't break anything. Total chaos. That is exactly why APIs exist. Without them, apps would have to access each other's internal systems directly. They would rummage through each other's databases, touch sensitive information, and probably break everything. APIs prevent that chaos by creating a clean, controlled, predictable gateway. Let's make this more concrete. Imagine you're using a ride-hailing app. You tap Book a Ride. In your mind, this is a simple action. Simple. But in reality, dozens of things happen at once. Your app doesn't magically know where drivers are. It has to ask the server. It needs to send your location search through available drivers, calculate distances, confirm availability, and then return a result to your screen. But your app doesn't perform those calculations itself. It sends a request to the company's server. And the server responds with the information you need. The piece that carries that request from your phone delivers it to the server and brings back the answer. That's the API. Every second behind the scenes, thousands of apps are performing this same dance. A request is made. A response is returned. Repeat. Maybe you haven't noticed how many APIs you interact with every single day. So let's walk through a normal day together. You wake up, you check the weather. That information didn't come from your phone. It came from some remote meteorology server that your weather app contacted through an API. You unlock your phone using your Google account. But your app doesn't store your Google password. It simply asks Google's API to verify who you are. You order coffee on a mobile app. It doesn't process your payment directly. It asks a payment provider's API, which communicates with your bank's API, which checks your account and sends back approval or denial. You scroll through social media. Every video, every post, every message involves hundreds of tiny API requests behind the scenes. You order lunch. That app communicates with a restaurant system to see if they're open with a delivery system, to find a driver with a mapping service to find a route, and with a payment service to finalize your order. All of this again happens through APIs. By the time you go to bed, you may have used an API a few thousand times without ever realizing it. APIs are everywhere. They are the invisible arteries of the digital world. But now that we understand their role, let's go deeper. How exactly does an API request work? Picture yourself writing a letter. You specify who it's for. You specify what you want. You send it out. And eventually you get a reply. An API request works almost exactly like that. There is the request, which is your ask. There is the endpoint, which is the address you send it to. There is the response, which is what comes back. And there is the format, usually something called JSON, which is like the shared language that both sides understand. When your app needs information, it writes a digital letter. When the server receives it, it decides what to do, gathers the information, and sends a message back. This simple system is powerful because it allows two completely different pieces of software to communicate as long as they follow the same rules. It's like two people who speak different languages, but have access to the same translator. Now, let's look at different types of APIs, because not all of them are open to the public. Public APIs are like restaurants that anyone can walk into. Developers can use them freely to build new applications. Think of weather APIs, mapping APIs, translation APIs. Private APIs are like the staff-only doors of a restaurant. They are used inside a company to let different teams or services talk to each other. And partner APIs are like VIP-only access, where companies collaborate and share specific features only with selected partners. Understanding these categories makes something very clear. APIs don't just power apps. They power entire industries. A small startup can build a fully functional product simply by connecting to strong APIs from big companies. They don't need to build a mapping service from scratch. They can use Google Maps. They don't need to build a payment system. They can use Stripe or PayPal. They don't need to reinvent user authentication. They can use OAuth from Google or Apple. In other words, APIs give small companies superpowers. And this leads us to a surprising truth. The modern tech industry grows not because each company builds everything from scratch. It grows because companies share capabilities with each other. Some offer maps. Some offer payments. Some offer data. Some offer identity verification. Each company contributes one piece, and APIs weave those pieces together. But the story doesn't stop at convenience. APIs also make the internet safer. Imagine again if you had to access another app's internal database directly. You would see everything: passwords, user data, internal files, sensitive information. APIs prevent that by only giving you what you need. Nothing more. Just like a waiter in a restaurant doesn't bring you into the kitchen where all the ingredients are stored. APIs never expose the inner workings of a system. They only give you the final dish, and this principle has shaped the entire architecture of modern software. Now, let's explore something even deeper. APIs are not just technical tools. They are an idea, a philosophy. They say systems should talk to each other. They say information should flow safely. They say no system should exist alone. This idea is so fundamental that even the newest technologies, including artificial intelligence, are built entirely on APIs. When you send a message to an AI model, you are using an API. When AI tools communicate with other tools, they do so through APIs. The future is going to depend on APIs even more. Faster networks will mean faster requests. More connected devices will mean more communication. And the world will slowly become a giant mesh of apps talking to each other seamlessly, quietly, invisibly. When we look around today, our apps appear simple. But the truth is, each tap on a screen triggers a global choreography of information. Devices, data centers, satellite servers, platforms, networks, and code all whispering back and forth through APIs. And the beauty of it is you never see any of it. You only see the result. A car arriving, a message delivered, a package tracked, a payment confirmed, a video loaded, a map updated, a song recommended, a friend request accepted. Every tiny miracle powered by a tiny digital messenger. So the next time you open an app and something just works, pause for a second. There is an invisible waiter carrying out your request. Quietly, reliably, at lightning speed. That is the world of APIs. And now you understand how apps talk to each other. We rarely think about the invisible infrastructure that powers our digital lives. But APIs are always there carrying tiny requests across the internet, returning answers in the blink of an eye, making everything feel effortless. They're the quiet connectors, the unseen translators, the digital waiters moving between kitchens we never enter. And the more technology evolves, the more important these hidden connections become. Apps will talk to each other more often. Devices will coordinate more seamlessly. And the boundaries between platforms will slowly fade until everything feels like one interconnected system. So the next time you press a button and something happens instantly, you'll know the truth. You'll know there's an unseen messenger making it possible. You'll know the quiet language behind the screen. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this exploration, consider staying with the channel for more simple explanations of complex ideas. There's a whole world beneath the surface, and we've only just begun to explore it.